Well, the lack of psychological support services in the SAPS and the continuing scourge of gender-based violence has once again come into the spotlight. Earlier this week, nurse Lebo Monene was gunned down at Tembisa Hospital by her boyfriend, who's a police constable, who then turned the gun on himself. He survived, though, and he's being treated at Mill Park Hospital. With the latest is eNCA's Barry Bateman.
Another senseless murder. A mother of two gunned down. The suspect, a police constable with whom Lebo Monene had broken up days earlier. He'd reportedly previously threatened to shoot her. Studies show that about half of women killed in South Africa are murdered by their intimate partners. Former police psychologist Gerard Labuskaghni has researched such killings where a police member is involved.
And so the common themes that we found, to be honest with you, aren't really different to the themes you would find in civilians doing the same thing. It was issues about jealousy, conflict in the relationship, and very often substances involved, at least at the time of the incident, or substances were quite prevalent in the relationship, usually alcohol, etc. So I don't really think the things that cause police to do it differ to the things that cause civilians to do it.
Suicide is, however, more prevalent within the police service. Police union Pop Crew says SAPS members are 11 times more likely to take their own lives than the average South African. The police have introduced employee health and wellness programs to try address this.
The program is rather reactive instead of being proactive. You normally get these representatives at a time only when there have been incidents that have taken place. And beyond that point, it takes time for them to come back to make assessments as to whether there are improvements or not.
The University of Johannesburg's Lisa Vetten, who is an expert in the field of violence against women, says the Tembisa murder highlights some serious problems with the system.
Yesterday's murder at Tembisa really underscores the neglect that we have allowed the policing of domestic violence in particular to fall into. It's routine to hear women, just talking to somebody this morning, she laid a charge against her partner. The police have now said, well, he wants to now lay a charge against her. Can she please come down to the station so that they can discuss this? I mean, how are we still having a situation where police officers are listening to men and saying, oh, well, now we're going to let him lay an assault charge against you?
A domestic violence case is further complicated where the perpetrator is a police officer.
We've had a person who ended up shooting his wife and then himself, and in his pocket was found the docket that she had opened up that morning for domestic violence. So there's always going to be the concerns that by the victim that this isn't going to be taken seriously because he is a policeman or she is a police member.
Researchers agree. Police psychologists must be trained to identify members who are experiencing emotional difficulties. This will go a long way to preventing murder-suicides. Barry Bateman, Johannesburg.